Good morning, everyone. I hope your Saturday morning has started off well. This little technique that I want to show you now is a technique that I've been looking at for ages, and I thought, I want to demonstrate it. I want to have a play with it. It's just a quick, easy technique of creating 4 cards without any pattern paper, just your inks and your stamps. Now, this technique does work better with more solid stamps. So these are the 2 stamp sets that I had in my stash. I'm pretty sure, I think maybe Seaside Wishes you can still get. But like I said, the technique works with more solid stamps rather than outline stamps and textured florals. Now there's a new flower set that's come out in the online, the exclusive online, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's a flower stamp, and I think it would work well in with this technique. So if you don't have any solid stamps at home, then that would be a good one to get your hands on. And check out those online exclusives. Remember, they come out every 2 months. So there's new products every 2 months where we don't have a catalogue for. They're just online. You can view them online. Okay. So they're the 2 stamp sets that I've used to create all of these cards. So I'll just give you a bit of a close-up look. And then these are the Seaside ones. So I'll just put them aside. Now I want to create, so with this little set, you can see I've done 2 Christmas cards because they do look quite Christmassy. And then I've done a happy birthday and a thinking of you. So first of all, we start with, so I'm going to use the textured florals and 1 little stamp from the Seaside Wishes. So these are all my stamps, so I'll just get them ready to go. This is my sheet of cards, so it's just A4 size. So if you want to create 4 C6 cards, you just start with an A4 size piece of card. If you were wanting to design square cards, which you could easily do, just start with a 12 by 12 and you're just cutting that down into 4. So now to open the ink pads, my fingers are still quite strong, so I can just pull them apart. But if your fingers aren't really strong, then I find if you just thumb over thumb, press in the middle. Oops, this one's not going to want to do it. That's right. If you do it that way, sometimes it works, but basically pressing on that middle part, that'll snap it open. So I'll just get all these inks that I'm going to use ready. So I'm using Wild Wheat, which is a retired one. But again, you can just use any colours that you like. Old Olive, Pretty Peacock. Now this says Merry Merlot, but I've re-inked it with Cherry Cobbler. So you can do that. If you've got old ink pads that run out of ink, the colour isn't going to be, exact, but it's better than having a dried up ink pad that you're not using. So you can re-ink it with a colour that's close to it in the present range. So I'm going to start with my biggest flower. And basically I'm going to do like a cross stamping. Move these away so I don't get ink everywhere. So I'm just going to ink up my stamp. Make sure the piece of cardstock is actually on the paper. And already, see, I've put a red finger mark here. You can never trust me. Okay, just make sure that's flat. And just ink up. So we're going to ink 1st generation, 2nd generation. We might even do a 3rd generation over there. And then we just go again. So we might go first generation, second generation, third generation, and I think maybe we just do one more and go up there, and maybe one there, little one there. I think, oh, there. And you could even do fourth and fifth. So we just, you know, if we want like almost a watermark type effect, we can keep doing that. So it's quite shadowy because you don't want it all completely covered because you want to be able to put your sentiment on, okay? Now I've probably put a bit too much red, but I'm going to make these Christmas cards, so a fair bit of red is okay. Then I'm going to go the Pretty Peacock with the little middle size stamp, and I'm going to just stamp over here and there, connecting, so you don't have to keep them separate. You can connect. Actually, it kind of looks nicer when you do connect. Maybe got some here. And remember to stamp off the page a little bit as well. Then we want the little flower. So I'm going to do that in the wild wheat. Okay, I think that's maybe. And then we've got the leaves. So I probably should have done the leaves before I did the yellow, but look, doesn't really matter. And then just try to connect the leaves up so they look as if they are actually. I did stamp some of those in the wild wheat. Oh well, such is life. We'll just try and go over them. That works. Now I want a fair bit of green here. I'll go over that one. Okay, I think that's enough. We can make a cross out there, didn't we? A little yellow. Just there. Okie dokies. So I think that's enough. I've probably gone a little bit far over and not left a whole heap of white space, but it will work. Now, because it's Christmas, I wanted to get on a little bit of gold. So what I'm going to do is just with the little dots stamp, I'm just going to stamp around with the Versamark. Don't know how this is going to turn out, but we'll just see. And then I'm going to use the gold. My little tray here. So I'm not going to worry about the static pillow because if a bit of random gold gets on here, I really don't mind. So just do a bit at a time. Pad out of the way so I don't get that everywhere. Now, if you find that you've gone a bit overboard like I have with the stamping, then you can always mount your sentiment in that white area. So if you've got a big sentiment that you wanted to get on the card, you can always just mount it. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that. I'm just with a brush, I'm just going to brush off these finger marks. And just if there's big clumps of it, I just want to soften it a little bit. Okay. So then we're going to use, just pop this out of the way. Now these are great trays. If you haven't got yourself a Stampin' Up! Embossing tray, let me know and I'll order you one because they are great for embossing. So now we're just going to heat up. Now, if I cut these into 4, this piece of cardstock into 4, it's going to be exactly the same size as a C6 card. So this is where, you know, when we've got little fingerprints like this, we can sort of cut that down. So just with the embossing, you're just following and watching it change colour. Can you see that happening? Am I able to, can you see that changing? It's probably a bit too much shadow. Once I've done it, I'll show you. So yeah, so just chase the embossing because you don't want to keep going over the same area because then that will actually flatten out and dull the embossing. So just go over that area, chase it. I just love, for me, embossing is wonderful. It's almost magical the way it turns from this dull powder to this lovely brilliant gold. I have had a bit of a embossing fetish lately. I think it comes with Christmas. Whenever Christmas comes around, if I haven't done any embossing for a while, that's definitely a technique that comes out for me for Christmas. And it's just amazing all the different ways that you can use embossing as well. Like you can emboss a stamped image, you can add it here, you can sprinkle it on, you know, wet areas. So you can see some of the stamps that were still wet, like I could have dried this piece off once I'd finished stamping it. Oh, and I've just realised I haven't stamped the centres of the flowers. Oh, dearie me. Silly girl. Okay, so we've gone out of order a bit. That's all right. It doesn't really matter. So I'll just show you here so you can start to see how that gold embossing has come out. So you can see the little dots there and you can see how the red on here must have still been, and you can see here too I think that looks pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so I'll put the the black bits on. I'll just get my black ink. And put the centres of the flowers in. I forgot the centres of the flowers. I can't believe I've done that. That'll just give them a little bit more life as well. That's all the red ones done. Oops, gosh, get you back here. Sorry, guys. Having a bit of a shocker this morning, aren't I? That's all right. It's all okay. So we'll put. I'm going to use that for that one as well. It's quite therapeutic. I do love stamping. I know some of you don't, but it's just a fun thing to do. Almost there. Okay. Done. Okay, now just put all those inks aside. I might close them up before I put my finger in them again. And then it's just, so we're just going to cut this in half and then cut it in quarters. So 10.5. And then 14.8. I've just seen a little yellow flower without a centre. I knew there'd be one that I'd miss. Okay. So here's our four pieces. And of course that's the little one I've missed with the centre. There's another piece. And one more. Oh, I like how that's come out there, but I don't like that black finger mark. So if I was to cut this down, so you can see this is exactly... Oh, no, it's not. Oh, I must have cut it short. Oh, yeah, look. I didn't actually cut that properly. I think I cut it... Oh, I've cut them all different. There we go. I've got a range of cuts. I didn't exactly cut them in quarters, but you can see how to create 4 cards very easily. So I hope you enjoyed that. And I will play with these. So I will cut down. So I'll probably cut this area down. And see, I've got all these marks here. So I would probably cut that down and make this a card where I stamp the sentiment onto a die cut or a piece of card and then maybe matted it with one of these colours. Yep, so have fun, enjoy, and sorry about my maths. Have a great day, everyone. Bye. Happy crafting.